Hi, you're welcome to CDUT 2025 International Summer School Program. Now, if you are watching from my YouTube channel, you're also welcome to join us in this ML project. So, first thing first, we'll be looking at the learning outcome. Now, we have 3 learning outcomes, which by the end of today, you'll be able to understand the importance of environment setup in AI workflows and how to avoid common pitfalls. You'll learn to install and manage essential AI libraries, ensuring that your project runs smoothly without compatibility issue. And lastly, you'll be able to set up and test a reproducible development environment, which is crucial for collaboration and experimentation in ML projects. So next, why environment setup matters in AI. Now, for us to ensure reproducibility by allowing you to share your results or rerun the experiment or for deployment, it is very important for you to consider an efficient environment setup. And this is essential in AI projects where consistent outcomes are necessary for validation. And also, for you to understand environment setup, such as visual environment and Python distribution, it can help prevent issues during development and also during your coding process. So with the right setup, you will be prepared to tackle complex AI tasks efficiently. Now, recommended hardware setup, minimum requirements for AI. Now, first, you have to consider what kind of CPU you will use. So you can look at 8 GB RAM for optimal performance. However, 16 GB or more is preferred to handle intensive AI workload efficiently. Now, number 2, you have to look at multi-core Intel or AMD CPU, which is necessary to run multi-processing simultaneously. And in all, it enhances the performance of our AI application. Third, considering NVIDIA CUDA enabled GPU is very recommended for our ML tasks, and it significantly helps to accelerate the model training, and which is very important when we are considering TensorFlow or PyTorch. Now, in this class, what do you have in front of you? So I briefly want to let you know the hardware you have in front of you for those of you in the class. So what we have here in this lab is CPU Intel Core i5-12400F and 32 GB RAM, and the storage we have 500 GB SSD, and the GPU we have in the system in this lab is NVIDIA GeForce RTX 460 series, and the monitor you can see here is 27 inches Full HD monitor. Now I'm referring to the system we have in this lab. So for those of you watching from YouTube, please, you can consider these as a requirement for you to carry out your ML projects. Okay. Now, environment setup essentials. Now, we have to consider why environment matters. Now, we want to ensure reproducibility, efficiency, deployment of our project in order to minimize potential errors across your workflow. So this is why we have to consider the environment setup. And also considering installing Python. Python installation is very important. In fact, that is the programming language we are going to use in our ML project. And it is straightforward. Just visit the official site, follow the instruction, and you'll be able to configure the necessary things needed. Now, using Anaconda offers a user-friendly interface and package management, which makes it very easier to handle complex AI libraries. Now, the next thing we want to look at is the visual environment. Now, we need to understand the importance of this visual environment. Now, the visual environments are essential for managing dependency in our AI project. In fact, they allow you to create isolated environments, ensuring that the package version does not conflict with other different projects which you might be having in your system. Now, this installation is crucial for reproducibility as it ensures that team are able to share results and also rerun those experimental projects with identical setup. Now, additionally, visual environments facilitates collaboration, making it easier for different users to work on the same project without encountering version issues. Now, let's look at Python installation, considering Windows. Now, one thing you should know that Python is a high-level programming language and it is popularly known for its simplicity and for scientific libraries. So most of our AI frameworks we have are Python based. Now, what are the steps by steps to carry out this installation? All you need to do is to visit the site. So you can see the site on the screen. Then you click on download. So as at June 2025, the latest version is Python 3.13.5. Now, once you have click on that download, you click on run, doing setup or installation, you have to enable Python, add Python to path, and then install launcher for all users. Now, the next thing we need to do is to confirm installation. Now, as for you to confirm what you've installed, just go to cm prompt and then you type Python space hyphen fashion, and then you also use pip space hyphen version. At the end of the day, the expected output will be Python 3.13.5 pip 25.1.1. Okay, so the next installation we want to also consider is Anaconda installation, which is alternative to pip. So it's either you're considering the Python installation or the Anaconda installation. Now, let's see the steps. First of all, you need to understand that Anaconda is free open source distribution of Python and R language, and it is designed for deep learning, machine learning, and AI in all. And this Anaconda contains the conda environment and package manager. It contains the pre-installed libraries like NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib. It also contains the Jupyter Lab, which is the web-based notebook environment. Now, step by step on how to install this, visit the official site, download the distribution, install our latest version of what we have as at June, July is Python 3.13. Then you install Anaconda and you open the Anaconda prompt. Now, for the conda environment example, you're going to create an environment. So we have conda space create space hyphen name space CDUT. So CDUT is actually the name we're trying to save as the visual environment. And then we have the Python version. Now, for this environment we have created, we have to activate it using the code conda space activate space CDUT. Now, I talked about the visual environment. So the question is, why do we need the visual environment and how do we go about that? So for visual environments, it's just an isolated Python environment where you can install packages without affecting other projects or the system Python. Now, looking at pip base using the visual environment, we just have to say Python space -n space venv space CDUT. So CDUT is the visual environment name. Now to activate that, we are going to say CDUT backspace script backspace activate. Now this is for Windows. Then if I were to use Anaconda, we are going to say Anaconda space create space hyphen name space CDUT space Python space 3.11. Now, for us to activate that, we are going to say conda space activate CDUT. So with that, this name will be activated. Now, the next thing we want to look at will be essential Python libraries for AIs. Now, I've brought out few key libraries for ML projects, which include NumPy, Pandas, Matlab, Seaborn, Scikit-learn, Jupyter Lab, Streamlit, Supabase. So let's start with NumPy. So NumPy is what we use for our mathematical, numerical computing. For Pandas, we use it for data manipulation and data analysis. While for our Matplotlib, we use it for plotting our graph for data visualization or exploratory analysis. Now, Seaborn, which is similar to our Matplotlib, we use it also for statistical visualization. Our Scikit-learn is a machine learning which is also referred to as ML toolkit for our prediction tasks. So it could be classification, regression, or clustering tasks. Now, our Jupyter Lab, which is the IDE for live code visualization and documentation. Now we have the Streamlit, which is commonly used for building our AI dashboard. Maybe you've heard about GUI, the graphics user interface. Yeah, so most of our ML and deep learning projects, we use Streamlit to carry out those design. Now for our Supabase, this is what we'll be using here in China, which is similar to Google Firebase and an alternative. So it's also open source and we'll be using it for data storage, authentication, real-time APIs, user management. Okay. So now, if you're looking out for the documentation link for the key libraries, we're going to see for each of those key libraries. So for NumPy, just go to the official site. For Pandas, do the same for all, as you can see on the slide. Now, day one summary. So in covering today's class, we've looked at environment setup, which is the backbone for any AI workflow. For we to even think about coding, it's very important for us to set the environment. And also, I mentioned that you should use visual environment, venv, conda to isolate, manage dependency, and you install libraries based on project needs, such as data processing or our ML. Now, it is very important for you to always document your environment for collaboration and deployment. What do I mean by that? Some of you will see some code in GitHub. If you don't know what kind of library versions they've used, it becomes difficult for you to reproduce that experiment. Now, even if you're putting out a code there, it's very important for you to let your readers to be able to know the installations, the libraries, the versions of those libraries they need for compatibility and for easy reproducibility. Now, how do we go about that? We just have to say pip freeze greater than sign requirement.text. So that requirement.text tells us everything that has been installed to carry out that project. Okay, so that's what we have here. Now, reflection question. Could you let me know what is the difference between pip and conda? Remember pip when we're talking about the pip-based Python, doing Python installation, and then conda, what's the syntax we use? That's if we want to install NumPy, we could say conda install NumPy. So that is from Anaconda. So let us know the difference between pip and conda. Now, for those watching from my YouTube channel, you can let me know from the comment section. Now, those of you in the class, you could tell me, you could write it down and show me later. Now, why is it risky to install all packages in the system Python? Now, I've mentioned it that, so take for instance, in a system, you have one system and we have so many students, although which is not the case in the summer program because all of you have one system to yourself. But in such scenario, we can actually create visual environments and each user has his or her own environment to explore their projects without any version conflict. So if we just have to run a code on the system Python, definitely it will not make the other user to come to do the same project or a different project due to version issues. So this is why it's a big risk to install all packages in the system Python. Now, the third one I want to ask is, what are the 3 AI libraries you install for tabular modeling? Now, when you see tabular modeling, it talks about table, and table for us is for our data is all about rows and column. Now we're going to treat that in week 2, where we'll be talking about exploratory data analysis, EDA. Now, fourth one, we want to find out, how does environment export help in collaboration? So please let us know in the comment section. Now, compare V environment and Anaconda as environment solution. So we want you to compare and give us your take on this as environment solution. Now, so thank you so much for your active participation and thoughtful engagement throughout this lecture. And those of you watching from my YouTube channel, thank you for sticking around. So after this video, we will go straight away with the seminar, which means the practical aspect on how to go about your installation so that we can be able to set up the environment needed for our coding. Okay, thank you for watching. I'm signing out. Okay, thank you for watching and signing off now. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share with your friend. Bye for now.